What do you think about the background?
Yeah. So, I completely disagree. Atheists don't even seem to know what a man and a woman is. So, I don't think that they're very
Oh
honest.
wow,
Well, I
wow,
mean,
you're ignorant.
that's me being honest. Right?
Wow, you're very uneducated. So
Am I?
yeah, and I mean that with all due lack of respect. So atheists, I mean, what do atheists have to do with anything other than just not believing in a god? I mean, are you not you're conflating like liberalism and leftism with and
Yeah.
being woke
Can I give you some research
with
though
atheism?
on how many atheists are progressives? Would that help change your mind?
No, I mean I understand. Well, that's because we're educated and we care about what's real,
Okay,
and so we go off based
well,
off of
that's not
data
what's
instead of
real.
our feelings, like
That's
you.
not what's real. You don't know what a man and a woman is. That's not real. That's
Oh,
a
honey,
lie.
I mean, yeah, I do. I do too, Cupcake,
What is a
and I can
man?
explain
Well,
it to
okay,
you.
then explain it. Use real small words because I'm so uneducated.
How was
I'll
humanity
try.
created?
Um, so a woman is the base definition is an adult female, but that's not the only usage of the word woman. Things are more complicated than just their definition.
You're not telling me
Definitions
anything yet.
definitions are prescriptive, or I mean descriptive, not
Descriptive.
prescriptive.
Yeah, descriptive. There you go.
Yeah, if you have a little bit of patience,
Okay,
I'll
that's
get
fair.
through
That's
it. Don't
fair.
worry.
That's fair. All right. You're treating me fair so far. I'll treat you fair too. That's fair. All right.
So you know, like if you look up the word brain surgery, it's going to give you a very basic definition of what brain surgery is. It's not going to give you all the usages of the word and all the intricacies, right? So woman is also a social construct, because it's a gender. Gender is a social construct, and it's related to physical characteristics and and a number of other things, but it's not just the so sex and gender are different things. This is proven in science. It's backed up in science. It's been studied for over 100 years. They've understood this. Um, so someone's gender is self-identified when they're a kid, when they're like under 10. It's usually like 4 to 5, 6 years old. They perceive their own gender within their society and within societal roles of gender, and they're they just know what gender they are because they just know it, just like you knew you were a little boy when you were 5 or 6 years old. People who are know that they're a little boy or a little girl. They just happen to be born in their assigned at birth is incongruent with what they feel like their gender is or what they know that their gender is. These people exist. You can't just deny it because you don't understand it or you don't like it, or if it's different than you.
Well, what if I just
um,
point out that it's just not true? So,
well
and here
well
I
you're
can,
just dumb.
well,
I mean,
you can say I'm just dumb, but you haven't even heard the counter argument. And here I
well,
was
I mean,
so
I don't need
patiently.
to
You
because
don't need to because you know you're going to
what is
get
your
wrecked on
false
it.
counter argument?
Yeah.
Andrew,
Go
So
ahead.
here
Andrew,
oh, okay. So
go.
I'm not allowed to make
Yeah.
the argument. Here we go.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
go. No, no,
Okay, great. Thank
go.
you. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
anyway, when you say
go.
man or you say woman, you have to be pointing at something in descriptive reality or it's an empty label, right? So if I walk over to somebody and I say, "Hi, my name's Andrew," and they say, "Hi, my name's also Andrew," and I say, "No, I'm Andrew." Would that make any sense? No, that doesn't make any sense, right? I can't be like, "My name's Andrew." They say,
Makes
"My
perfect
name's Andrew,"
sense.
and I go, "No, I'm Andrew." That makes no sense. A definition can't be an empty label. It has to point to something which you are describing. That's why it's called a descriptive,
You're
right?
talking about a word. You're talking about a name. That's not a definition of a person.
Definitions need to be pointing to something descriptive. They need to be pointing at something so they're not a label. If you're educated, you should know that, right?
I'm waiting for a coherent argument.
That is a coherent argument. I'm just telling you definitionally, you never told me what a woman was. You just said there's some loose social identifying construct which is there. That's not the case. That would be an empty label, not a definition of a woman. So what
Well,
is the definition of a woman?
I actually defined it in great detail. Sorry you weren't listening.
Definition
Your
of woman is an
definition
adult
didn't.
human female.
Yeah, okay, great. So if it's an adult human female, then when other people say I'm a woman and they're not an adult human female, that would be category error and they would be lying, wouldn't they?
Well, Cupcake, you forgot the whole other part of it, which I said, which you agreed upon, is that the definition, the base definition of a word is not the end all be all of how we use that word. Just like brain surgery or something that's more complex. Gender is a complex psychological issue.
I assume brain
social.
surgery refers to people who conduct some type of surgery on a brain. Yeah?
That's a brain surgeon.
That's a very simplistic definition of what brain surgery
Sure.
consists of.
Sure. Can you tell me what I would be pointing to other than that?
I don't understand what you
What
mean.
what would, when I say brain surgeon or brain surgery, what would I be pointing to in a definition other than somebody who's doing some type of procedure on somebody's brain? What would I be pointing to?
Literally every other intricacy and detail.
So give me an
of
example.
what brain- Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, give me a specific example of what I'd be pointing
You're
to.
doing this thing that a lot of conservatives and religious people do, and people who are ignorant.
Where I'm right.
Is you interrupt and you don't listen.
Yeah,
You're
but I
not
need you to.
actually
I
listening.
just want you to answer the question I asked, not the one I
You're not
don't
actually
ask.
Listening. You're doing the same thing.
Oh,
You're gonna
man.
crash out now.
No,
and
nobody's
interrupt.
crashing out, bro. I just want you
Yeah,
to
you are,
actually
because
answer
you're
the
interrupting me.
question.
You're not listening. You're not listening to understand. You're just listening.
Okay,
to
can you give
interrupt.
me a specific example of what I would be referencing if I said brain surgery, where I wasn't talking about somebody doing some kind of procedure to somebody's brain? Can you do that specifically?
This is a red herring question.
Yeah, so you
Has no
can't.
meaning.
Yeah, that's right. It's so stupid.
Now you're going to do the nervous laughter thing.
Yeah, I'm not the nervous
No, you're
laughter.
not.
I'm laughing at you because you can't do it.
I can't ask you to describe what the is the question. It doesn't even make any sense.
It does.
You think you just did a big gotcha moment?
Yes, I
It makes
did.
no sense.
Because it's the truth. What I'm telling you is objective truth, right? So what I'm telling you is that if you have a definition, a descriptor, it needs to point at something. Otherwise, what are you describing? You're not describing anything. So if I say brain surgeon and I give you even something like a person who does surgery on brains, and then define surgery and define brain,
Okay,
right?
So what's the problem with gender? I don't like tie this in with gender.
Yeah, so that's regressive because it's pointing at either. So it's not giving us the description here. It's a regressive definition.
Well, guess what? There are some dictionaries now that have been edited and updated to include another definition, which is people who identify and live as a woman is a woman.
So what? It doesn't. So you can put a regressive definition in a dictionary.
Regressive.
It is regressive.
No, it's not.
You're saying because you're saying a woman is anybody who identifies as a woman, which is an infinite regress.
May I have
No, it's not.
Yes, it's literally a logical infinite regress. So here, I'll prove it. If I say what is a woman, and you say a woman's anybody who says they're a woman, and I say, well, what is a woman though? And you say anybody who identifies as a woman, I say, yeah, but what is that? It's an infinite regress.
Well, sorry, go.
It's not.
It is. Look up an infinite regress.
Identity is not an infinite regress fallacy. If you have an
Identities
identity.
themselves are based around usually empty labels. Like, for instance, my name, Andrew. Andrew is a label, but Andrew is not a descriptor for Andrew man, Andrew male, anything like that. It'd be a label, like sports fan, label, right? Things like this. Those are labels. They're not giving you the descriptive identifier. When I ask you what a woman is, you're giving me an infinite regress. A woman is 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 a woman. That's what it is.
That's not all we're saying, though.
Then what is it? Then what is it? Then what is a woman?
It's a woman is one of the genders that people self-identify as a psychosocial schema within the society that they live in.
So a woman is anybody who says they're a woman.
It's kind of weird, Andrew, that your opinion.
So a woman's anyone who says they're a woman.
Andrew,
yeah.
you stop steamrolling.
By the way, biologists agree with me, not you. You're banking on psychologists who study the mind. They study the mind, not science.
All of science agrees with
No,
me.
all of science doesn't. Biologists identify
Actually, it
only
does.
two. Period.
No, you're conflating and gender now.
Yeah, because
You're confusing sex and
no.
gender.
Gender itself is an empty label because
Andrew,
it's self-identifier.
Andrew, why don't we call a female dog a woman?
Well, because in that case, that particular label would be associated with human being and then adult female human
But
being.
why? Why? If we're just an animal, we're just animals, though, biologically. So why is it different for humans? Why, if it's an adult female, then why isn't a gorilla a woman?
Actually,
female
this
gorilla
makes
a woman?
this makes a great point for me and not for you. So What they're doing
no,
is
actually, it doesn't. Because
they're
it proves
making
that it's a psychosocial schema.
no,
construct.
actually, what it proves is that you're putting hyper-specific information in a definition for the purpose of identification. The same reason that we would call a donkey an ass, for instance, right? You say an ass, or or whatever, or you could say a mule. You could say a mule, or you could say a henning, right, or something like this, because that is specific to that animal. So the definition there makes sense.